Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Welcome to another lecture, and in today's class we are going to begin with a new grammar today, the name of which is tenses. Now tenses, as we said, is the foundation of English language. It is only because of tenses that we are able to speak what we are. We are able to write well, and most importantly, we are making sense as well. If the tenses are not correct, then obviously nothing will fall into place. Now, tenses, what does that mean? Tenses tells us if something that is to be spoken or written took place in the past, is taking place in the present, or will happen in the future. And for all these three periods, we have different rules in English grammar that ought to be followed. So first, there are three types, the broad categories of tenses that we have. We have the past tense, we have the present tense, and then we have the future tense. So these are the three broad categories in which we can divide our past tense, as the name suggests, something that took place in the past. Present, what is taking place now. And future, something that will take place, anytime. Future would mean 1 hour from now, 2 hours from now, and even 10 minutes from now is your future. So that is what future tense is all about. We are going to learn about all these three tenses. We'll further divide them into categories. I am going to teach you the rule for each of the tense using several examples so that the topic is very much clear. So let's begin. Now first, let us begin with the present tense. And for the present tense, the first one that we have is simple present tense. So simple present tense is the first type of tense. Now first, let us talk about the rules, the formation of the simple present. Subject plus first form of the verb plus object. Now this is the basic structure of the simple present tense. Okay? We have to use the first form of it. Now if your subject is singular, or if we are using pronouns such as he, she or it as our subject, then what will be the rule? The first form of the verb plus s or s plus the object. So what is it that I have taught you? Subject can either be singular or plural. This is something that we all know, that it can either be singular or it can be plural. If your subject is plural, then you will first write the subject, followed by the first form of the verb, and then the object. If your subject is singular, or if you are using pronouns such as he, she and it as your subject, in that case, the verb, the first form of the verb will be followed by s or s plus the object. For example, Rohan dances very well. What is my subject? Rohan is my subject. verb, first form of the verb is dance, right? Since my subject is singular, that is why I have added an S to the end of my verb plus my object. I give you another example. It rains heavily in monsoon. What is my subject? It, which is a singular subject. Since my subject is singular, therefore my verb. Now, what is the first form of the verb? Rain. I have added an S to the end of my verb because according to the rule, if my subject is singular, my verb will have an S or an ES. If I give you another example, he shines like a star. What is my subject? He, which is singular. The first form of the verb, shine. Since my subject is singular, that is why I have added an S to the end of the verb. Sentence becomes, he shines like a star. On the other hand, if my subject is plural, then there is no need for us to add any S or ES to the end of it. For example, Rohan and Amit dance very well. Now just look at the sentence. Here my subject was only Rohan, singular, that is why my verb was dances. Here my subject is plural, Rohan and Amit, plural. That is why there is no S or ES to the end of the verb, it is only dance. If I give you another example, they speak very loud. Now, what is my subject in the sentence? They, which is clearly plural. Since my subject is plural, therefore, there is no S or ES to the end of my verb and it remains as it is. So, they speak very loudly. If I give you another example, Sita and shine. Here we were talking about only one subject, that is why I added an S to the end of my verb. Here I am talking about a plural subject. There are two people I am talking about, Sita and Sita. And since my subject is plural, therefore the verb is as it is. There is no S or ES that we add to the end of my verb. So, what is the rule that we have learned? The rule says that it is subject plus verb first form plus object. If my subject is plural and subject plus verb first form plus S or S, if my subject is singular. So, this is my rule how to form a simple present tense. Now, how to make a simple present tense is clear to you. But what are the uses of simple present tense? How am I going to know in what situation am I supposed to use the simple present tense? So, what are the uses of the simple present tense? First, it talks about actions that are done as a habit or routine. So if there's something that you are doing as a habit, as a routine, something that you do every day, for those actions we will always use a simple present tense. For example, if I say, I go for a walk every morning. Or if I say, people laugh a lot in the park while exercise. I give you another example. I drink a glass of milk day. Or Tom goes to gym evening. Now all these examples that I have written for you, what can we examine from them? Something that is taking place every day, every morning, every evening, every time you are doing something. So this is what? This is a habit. This is a routine of yours. So in those cases where we are talking about some habit, which is, some habit or routine of yours, of ourselves, then we have to use the simple present tense to talk about. The second use of the simple present tense is, it is used in case of universal. Now, what is a universal truth? Universal truth means something that is followed and is believed by people all across the world. Something that cannot be denied by anyone. Something that you cannot say no to. For example, if I say, the earth revolves around the sun. So what is my subject? The earth. What is my verb? Revolve. Now since, what is my original verb? Revolve. Since my subject is singular, that is why I have added an S to it, like I told you in the rule. So the earth revolves around the sun. This is a universal truth. You and me cannot deny that. So it is written in the simple present tense. Similarly, if I say, the moon moves around the earth. Now this is again something which is universally accepted. We know that in our universe the moon takes a round around the earth. So you and me cannot deny that. That is why the simple present tense is used. If I give you another example, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. What are the verb forms that I have used? Simple present tense. Rises and sets. Why? Because I'm talking about a universal truth that the sun will rise from the east every time and it is going to set in the west. So this is the second use of the simple present tense. Now coming to the third one. We use simple present tense for those statements that are always those statements which are always true, we use the simple present tense for that. For example, the dog barks. We all know that a dog is always going to bark. It is never going to make any other sound. Right? If I say the water boils at 100 degrees. So this is again something which is always true, that water will always boil at 100 degrees. If I say the bees buzz. So this is the sound that the bees are always going to make. They are always going to buzz. They are not going to start barking. So such statements which will always be true, no matter what, for those statements also we are going to use the simple present tense. The next one is for the present actions, events and situations. So for the present actions, for the present events and for the present situations, we are always going to use the simple present tense. For example, if I say something that is taking place presently, if I say Mahesh lives in Rohini. This is a present action, something that is taking place right now, that Mahesh is presently living in Rohini, so we use the simple present tense for that. If I give you another example, Ram loves walnut cakes. Again, this is an event or this is a situation which is taking place presently. You might not love a walnut cake in the future, or in the past you might have loved a strawberry cake. So something or the other. But right now you have a taste bud for the walnut. So the fourth usage of the simple present tense is that it talks about the present actions, the present events and the present situation. The next one is, this is very important and this is something which is a bit confusing also. Now we use the simple present tense for those future events which take place at a given something that will take place in the future, but you know the exact time at which they are going to take place. For example, we all know, if I give you the example of the matches, the IPL matches that we have. So if I say the IPL begins at 8 p.m. This is something which will take place in the future. The IPL is going to begin at 8 at night. But I know exactly the time when they are going to start. And therefore, for such events that will although take place in the future, but we know the exact time when they will take place, we use the simple present. If I give you another example, for example, the schools reopen in January. So, if I give you the example that after the winter break, the schools reopen in January. So, we know that this is something that will take place in the future, but we know exactly when that event will take place, and that is why we use the simple present tense for that. If I give you another example, the train leaves at 2. So, the train is going to leave at 2 p.m., which is a future event, but I know exactly the time, and that is why the simple present. So, we've talked about the 5 different uses of the simple present tense. First, whenever you're talking about something which is a habit, a routine, we use the simple present tense for that. If you're talking about some universal truth, something that cannot be denied, use a simple present tense. For statements which are always true, use a simple present tense for that. Something that is taking place currently, some present event, some present situation, use the simple present tense for that. And last but not the least, if we are talking about an event which will although take place in the future, but we know the exact time when it is going to begin. And for such actions, we use the simple present. Now, for one thing that we always have to remember, words like usually, every day, always, sometime, generally. Now, if you come across such words in your sentence, then you have to remember that these words are used to express which tense? The simple present tense. So, if you come across any such words in the sentence, you have to be sure that the only answer available to that is simple present. Now, let us move on to the next one. The second is present continuous tense. So, the present continuous tense is the second type of tense under the present tense. Now, present continuous tense. First, let us talk about the rule of the present continuous tense. Subject plus first form of the verb plus is, am, are plus first form of the verb plus ing plus the object. So, subject plus the first form of the verb plus is, am, are plus first form of the verb ing and the object, and this is my rule of the present continuous tense. For example, he is playing cricket. Now, this is something we know that with he, which is a singular subject, I am always going to use is, which is a singular verb. So, he is, play is the first form of the verb plus ing, so playing cricket. If I give you another example, I am eating a chocolate. Again, this is something we all know. With I, we will always use am. So, I am eating a chocolate. If I give you another example, they are speaking a pot. So, what is my subject? They. Since it is plural, therefore, I use a plural verb with it, which is are. And speaking a lot becomes my object. So, if my subject is singular, that is he, she and it, we will use is with that because they are singular in nature. With I, we always use am, and with the plural subjects, we always use are. And what is the rule of making a sentence with present continuous tense? We use the subject, then we put the appropriate helping verb, followed by the first form of the verb and ing plus the object. Now, let us talk about the uses of the present continuous tense. Just the way we talked about the uses of the simple present tense, similarly, we have a few uses to be kept in mind for the present continuous tense. The first one is they, and the most important, rather the only thing that we need to keep in mind for the present continuous tense is it talks about an action that is taking place in front of something that you can see around you, something that is taking place right now around you is what is to be written in the present continuous tense. For example, if I am here right now teaching, so how am I going to write? If I say the students are the tenses. So what is my subject? The students. Since the students are plural, so we write are. Subject, verb's first form is study plus ing tense. If I give you another example, the bird is perching on the tree. Perching means to sit. So there is a bird in front of you and you can see that bird sitting on a tree. So I use the present continuous tense for that. If I say children are eating an ice cream. So what is my subject? Children. Since it is plural, so we use are. So children are eating an ice cream. So what is the rule of the present continuous tense? We use the subject. If the subject is singular, we use the helping verb is or use the helping verb is. Then the first form of the verb, ing and the object. With I as the subject, we always use am as the helping verb followed by the first form of the verb and ing. And if my subject is plural, then I am going to use are as the helping verb followed by the first form of the verb, ing and the object. So this is the rule of the present continuous tense. The next one is present perfect. So we have the present perfect tense. Now for the present perfect tense, what is the rule? Subject plus has or have plus third form of the verb and object. Now this is the rule of making a present perfect tense. We use the subject first followed by has or have, then verb's third form and the object. Now how to decide what will come, has or have? If your subject is singular, we will use has, And if your subject is plural, we use, for example, they have learnt this topic. What is my subject in this sentence? They, which is clearly plural. As the rule suggests, I have to use have if my subject is plural. So, have. Third form of the verb, learn, learnt, learnt. So, the third form is learnt and whatever is the. If I give you another example, Soumya has done a work. So, what is my subject? My subject is Soumya. What is to follow? If my subject is singular, I will be using has. And then the third form of the verb, so do, did, done. The third form is done, so had done her work. I give you another example. She has planted a new tree. What is my subject? My subject is she. Since she is singular, so I will use has with it. With has, we use the third form of the verb, that is planted. And what has she planted? A new tree, which is my object. So, the basic rule of the present perfect tense is that it is always used with those subjects. It is obviously, we have to first write the subject followed by either has or have, then the third form of the verb followed by the object. Now, what are the uses of the present perfect tense? The first use of the present perfect tense is, it talks about an action that completed a specified time in the past. An action that has completed in the past, but at a specified time. We know when that action was completed. For that, we use the present perfect tense. For example, if I say, I have met him once. So, first just look at the rule. We always use have, we never use has. So, I have, third form of the verb is met, meet, met him once. Now, this action, you meeting him, is something that took place in the past. But this has been completed at a specified time, at a specified duration. And since this action completed at a specified time, therefore we use the present perfect tense. If I give you another example, Geetika has done her homework. Again, Geetika completing her homework is something that took place in the past. She has completed her homework, but it took place at a specified time, at a particular time in the past, and that is why we are using the present perfect tense. The second use of the present perfect tense is, it is used to speak about experiences. So if you are talking about some experiences, for that also we use the present perfect tense. For example, if I say, I have traveled by the metro. Now this is something which was talking about some experience, that I have traveled by the metro. This is an experience that I am sharing. So I plus have, since with I we always use have. Third form of the verb, that is traveled by the metro. So this is an experience that you are sharing with someone. If I give you another example, if I say they have eaten at that famous restaurant. What is my subject? They. Since they is plural, so we use have. Third form of the verb, eat, ate, eaten. So eaten at the famous restaurant. This is an experience that you are describing to people about you having eaten at some famous restaurant. So we use the present perfect tense for that. The next use of the present perfect tense that we have to remember is that it is used to talk about a change that has happened over something that took place over time, something that has changed over time. Now this is the most common use of the present perfect tense, because such sentences we keep on listening from people around us very, very often. For example, somebody telling you, you have become taller. This is a change that has come into you. You've become tall now. That is why have plus third form of verb. So become, became, become. If I give you another example, he has learned a new language. So he is my subject. Has, because he is singular, and the third form of the verb learn is learned. So he has learned a new language. This is what? This is the present perfect tense, because I'm talking about something that has changed over the years. So three uses of the present perfect tense. First, it is talking about some action which completed in the past but at a specified period of time. Second, it is used to talk about your experiences. And third, if you are talking about some change that has taken place over a period of time, then we use the present perfect tense to talk about that change. The rule I have already taught you, it is always the subject plus either has or have plus third form of the verb and the object. Now something that we have to remember is, if you come across words like just, for, and since, so these three words if you come across in any of the sentence, then you can be sure that that sentence is only talking about the present perfect tense. So words like just, for, and since are used to express which tense? The present perfect. And this was about the present tense. We've discussed about all the three categories, the subcategories of the present tense for that matter. The simple present tense, present continuous tense, and the present perfect tense. I have discussed with you the rules that are used to make such sentences along with the ways and the places where they have to be used. Now, my dear students, I'm going to stop here, and with the past tense, I'm going to meet you all in the next part of this lecture, wherein I will teach you about the past tense. So, I'll see you all now in my next video.